Now we're ready to sew a side panel to one of our, either the top or the bottom. It doesn't really matter which one you start with. You want to make sure that you have the back of the cushion, and the back of the cushion is where we did our overlap or beginning and ending for our piping. And we're going to start with the side panel. We're going to start with the zipper section of the side panel. Now remember that the zipper section is going to come down the edge of the side of the cushion. So we're going to hang that out a little bit. Here's our zipper panel, and go to the other end, and it will also come out a little bit. This is our zipper panel, and I'm going to sew the zipper panel from the corner of the top panel. You can see the stitching where you sewed the piping on, where you basted the piping on. You're going to start there and sew down along the edge of the zipper panel. This is with the right sides together, and the piping is in between. It's already basted in, it's in between. It's all going to be sandwiched together, and you'll sew right down to the end of where the piping ended at the corner before we turn the corner. So if you want, you can set it up and put some pins in to hold it in place, or you can just hold it together as you go. I'm going to throw a few pins in just to hold it in place. Now we're going to sew that zipper panel to the front panel with the piping sandwiched in between. You want to be on a regular stitch, a 2.5. We're using a zipper foot because we have the piping in there. You're going to be sewing along that bump. You can feel the piping sandwiched in between, and you need the zipper foot so that you can run right along the edge of that piping. We're starting right at the corner, at our pivot points of the piping, and we're going to sew along using a 5/8 seam allowance. Now when you come to, this is the overlapped area of the piping. It's very thick. Now you have several thicknesses of fabric, so you want to move slowly over that. Make sure that your machine can handle that much. If your machine feels sluggish and doesn't want to go over it, or it feels like the needle is not pressing through, you can go stitch by stitch, moving the hand wheel of your machine, and that will get you over that very heavy spot. You don't want to go charging over it and break a needle. So if your machine feels like it's not doing well over the really thick spots, just turn your hand wheel and stitch it stitch by stitch. And then when you get over the bump, then you continue on. Okay, now when you get down to the end, to the next pivot point, you want to check, there's the piping right there. Just squeeze the piping in on that corner so that you don't run over it with the machine. And just put your needle right in there. Actually, let's back up a little, and we'll take it off. And this is what it looks like. Now it's helpful to put a little bit of a snip on, this is the side panel here. Just snip it a little bit so that the fabric will go around the corner more easily. Okay. Now you're going to kind of turn that fabric around to go around that square point, around the pivot point, like this. This is what it looks like. Put it back on the machine. Make sure you're not running over the piping. So you can feel there the little bump of the piping. Just want to make sure you're not going to run over it. And then continue down the side like this.